Let's talk knives, shall we? 5:53 p.m., 6/11/2018. Thank you for watching, YouTube. Alright, the last upload, the talk was a little bit about chores and the stepdaughter's role in that, to do the dishes. And if I didn't mention, I'll mention now. We had a dishwasher, alright. It sat right next to the sink. Had a butcher block top with a big microwave on top. Back then, microwaves were bigger. Alright, they've slimmed them down quite a bit now. And I did have us get a portable because I wasn't quite sure what we were going to actually do in the long run with that kitchen. So I got it with a butcher block top on it as well, in case it ended up being a kitchen island, which the kitchen was kind of small, but if we worked it right, it could have accommodated a kitchen island. But it sat right next to the sink, pushed up against the same wall as the sink, had no window on that wall, one window in that kitchen, which was on the other side of the sink. So when you did dishes, you stood with your back to the light, so I had to have the overhead on most of the time. Alright. Her job mainly was to prep the dishes to put in the dishwasher. Not all that hard of a job. You know, one of my friends back in the 70s, who was an Air Force brat, had to do her families that way, you know, and some of them, of course, needed scrub before they go in, but some didn't, you know. Okay, so, and I didn't grow up with a dishwasher. Alright, when we did dishes, it was I wash, you dry. Okay? Or they'd sit there and drain, and Mother would yell at me until I get in there, get them wiped, and put them away. So her job was a lot easier in the 90s than mine was in the 70s. For that very thing. We had no dishwasher. But what had to happen, and we kept the hose, because it was portable, it hooked to the sink. Not like the built-in one I have now. But we kept that hose with that connector. Dang it, I wish this would stop. Stretched out from behind the dishwasher onto the backboard of the sink. Behind the faucet and the handles. So it was pretty handy right there, and all one of us would have to do, John or I, was to hook that little contraption up to the faucet and turn it on. Alright? She didn't even have to do that part. So, then she'd have to put them away, of course, after the cycles had run. Pardon me. Another not big deal, because, as I'd said, it was a pretty small kitchen. There are only a few steps you could take in that kitchen before you'd, you know, come to a wall or something, cabinetry or, you know, something. We had a dinky little table in there. I picked it up at some kind of rummage sale. I think it was that rummage sale store down there on East 3rd. Near Engineer, years ago, and it had come out of Spuds and the Spud store or something. Small green 2-seater, and then it had the matching chairs, which were kind of like parlor chairs with the curly cues in the back. Spuds and More, or Mighty Spuds, or something like that. So they did mainly that I know of is sell baked potatoes. And one of the seats had split. It had the green upholstered seats to match the tabletop. So I had some oilcloth there, green and white checked. And I took those apart, cleaned it real good, you know, and recovered both of the seats so they not have a ripped seat to look at and sit on, but a green and white, kind of a plaid check. Looked nice, if I must say so myself, but that was the little kitchen table we had in there. And before we got her desk into the front room by that one south window, she'd sit there in the kitchen after dinner, after dishes, with her homework. So, okay, to put the knives and stuff away, as I started to say, and I ramble, was just a few steps back and forth across that whole entire room. Not a gigantic kitchen. Alright? So meanwhile, you and I might be thinking, I'm going to take care of this crazed rapist situation right here, right now, as soon as possible. I will hide these knives as soon as they leave this house and are gone a substantial amount of time. Approximately 4 hours each time. Plus their nightly little runs out to have coffee with their coffee cup clubs at the break time with Carolyn and sometimes Mike. Alright? Substantial blocks of time that she could have solved this little problem long before she did. I'm telling you, long before. I'm going to hide knives under my pillow. I'm going to hide knives in my extra shoes, in my closet, or boots. I'm going to, you know, hide them in the basement near the laundry. So when I take the laundry down, I'm going to take care of this little problem. Believe you me. He's going to put a hand on me. He's going to get a knife in his eyeball. Get it? And I cannot imagine my husband running screaming out of anywhere with a knife sticking out of his eyeball. But right now I can imagine her doing that. Because of what I feel of this whole stupid situation. You know? Any kind of knife in that drawer. Plus we had them in a butcher block. So even if there'd be, you know, the few, like 5 or 6 in the butcher block, that someone would notice, hey, there's a knife missing. There's always these oddball ones in the drawer that I didn't really have a count of. I knew they were there. I had my little favorites. Of course, everybody's got their favorite knives. Okay, so why isn't she thinking in that way? Oh, I like sex with my dad so much I don't believe I'll do anything about this, and nobody's ever going to know, and everything's fine and dandy. If I get knocked up, I just get knocked up, and it's no big deal, and who cares, and they'll ship me back to the commune anyway, so F it. Or I ain't going to no military boot camp to get my anything in line. Okay? I have enough of this already at school. I'm not going to be shipped off to no military boot camp. F that. So then she comes up with a story. The very next school day. And I'm not for certain right this second if it was the next day or the very next school day. Because it might have been a weekend, but I don't think so. I think our appointments were during the week. And we'd all go at the same time. And before she got her appointments from John for exit therapy, he and I would go. Just ourselves. So that might be another occasion to look at that while we were going to Columbia, which was 68 miles from Sedalia, I mean, it's 18 miles up from Sedalia to I-70, and then the trip over across past Boonville, and, you know, some signs say 68, but I'm not standing at that sign when I'm at my house, okay? So you get the bit, probably maybe 70 miles. Okay, let's say 70-ish miles. And then wait at the doctor's, 2 appointments, his and mine across town. There's always a wait. When have you ever been to the doctor and there's not a wait? Just walk right in. We're ready for you. Let's go. And then the matter of the appointments, which were probably no more than 15 or so minutes long. You know, I just went to mine to get scripts. All right. 15 to half an hour max. And then the return trip. And yes, sometimes we would refuel. Excuse me. And sometimes we would stop and get something to drink, like a coffee or soda, whatever. Then when she started, of course, add another person to that equation. All 3 of us up there getting our appointments, same day, same road trip, until the night of, I guess it was his birthday or the night before. And we're like, well, you know, it's dinner time. Why don't we stop and get some Burger King? Oh, okay, that sounds like a great plan. 'Cause we were kind of watching it, you know, with our intake of grease, and we always counted on Burger King for the brazier burgers. You know, that a lot of that would just drip down off of it. So that was a good choice for us. Okay? And she said something that touched me. I don't know what it was. She always would come up with some kind of thing, and it would just always rub me the wrong freaking way. Normally, always. Maybe not always, but a great deal of the time. Alright, so I wanted to talk about knives, but I just feel like this whole thing was a knife in my back more than anything. Because it's not a knife in his belly, it's not a knife in his eyeball at any point in time, even when he's asleep. And just to knife me in the back was plenty for her. She gets to carry on, live her life as if, cakewalk. Mine and our son's has not been a cakewalk. Only up until recently, when my parents decided earlier on that they'd look out for us girls, Carol and I, in that way, and whoever else, I don't know. I sometimes feel there's other people, but I have no idea. No hiding of the knives. This act of what I'm calling knifed in the back, that's old school phraseology for, let's see, I might just have to put a thing up on it. Getting vindictive behind your back, knife you in the back, do something dirty, underhanded to a person. It's slang. It's dad slang. I learned it from my dad. So, I will get a definition, hopefully remember that by the time this is uploaded. In my luck, it's going to take about an hour from the Screencast-O-Matic to my computer and then to the YouTube upload, which is fairly quick after I write my description and I put links and all that, publish that. So I'm out of time again, nearing 15 minutes. Thank you for watching.